Hello, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank is a T127. This is a Russian Tier 3 light tank, and the map is Ruinberg. Now, if you my videos, you'll know that I like to play in the center of the map. That includes Ruinberg. Now, you'll notice that I'm not driving on this road over here. And the reason why is because when you drive on this road, enemy tanks that are on the opposite side can shoot at you very easily. So I always avoid this road. The closer you get to the center of the map, you're very vulnerable. If you stay to the left of the road where I'm going through the bushes, then you are a lot safer. What I usually do is I approach a certain bush in the center of the map, usually the one on the left, and I'll explain why. You can see I missed the bush. The bush is actually on the right and is next to the tree. Okay, so the reason why I play in the middle of the map is because you can hit tanks all over the place. You can hit all the tanks all the way around there, all the way through those buildings. You can hit the tanks in this gap, and if it's an encounter battle, a lot of enemy tanks will cross over here, and I get a lot of shots in, and when they arrive to town, they have low hit points. You can hit all the tanks over here, some of them even on the cap. There is a bush over here, which I do not recommend, and the reason why is because you don't want the tanks down this alley to spot you. So you want to have foliage and some bushes on your right side. So that's the reason why I head a little bit inwards. I don't take this first row of bushes. I stay on the second row of bushes, or perhaps on the one behind me. One thing you do have to watch out for, if you see a lot of enemy tanks that come to the road, one is not that big of a deal, but if you see two or three, this is a bad position if you have 2 or 3 enemy tanks on the middle road. My experience is that if there are 2 or more enemy tanks along this area right over here at the edge, they usually will assault and kill me or do serious damage. So that's why I only stay here if there are no enemy tanks or only one. The higher tiers, you'll often be confronted by many tanks. Now, what this T2 medium is doing is very risky, especially considering he's a tier 2, because enemy tanks are going to come over here and they're going to see him. Okay, so here's an example. This cruiser and the Panzer, you can see that from where I'm located, I can shoot at both of these tanks. Look at where they are on the mini-map. You can see that they are in the far corner. And the types of tanks that go to this area tend to be tank destroyers and maybe even artillery. So you know that from this location you can hit those tanks. And I do spend a lot of time hitting tanks there.
Critical hit.
You'll note that the aim is very good and the reload is really good. Unfortunately, it seems as though most of my shots missed. Even though
didn't penetrate their armor. Where'd they go?
I didn't see the distance, but I'm assuming he was around 500 meters away. It looks like we have a team killer on our team too. And I'm not sure what's going on, but I seem to think that perhaps that team killer is shooting at an ally. It looks like he's trying to kill an ally. He hasn't actually killed him yet, but he's trying to.
Target acquired. Enemy is hit. We didn't even scratch them. We didn't penetrate their armor.
So as you can see from this position, I can shoot at tanks that are in the middle. And Usually you'll have opportunities to do so. The R-35 happens to be a well-armored tank, so he's going to be very difficult for me to penetrate. But usually there's a lot of enemy tanks that are here. There was a game, you see where this ally is? I can't read his name, Ironclad. There was a game where there was an ally that was in the same position, and because he was there, the enemy refused to come out. So when there's an ally here, don't expect the enemy to come out. But when your allies are on the other side, they will cross over, such as what this Cruiser 4 did. You will see also that there are tanks that are still in front of me. Now, there are 3 allies in front of me, 2 of which are dead, and then we have this H-35. Another thing that happens is when your allies go here, the enemy will not. So the reason why we don't have shots on the enemy over here is because they're afraid to come out. So it's better for you in this position to have no allies over here and to have no allies over here. So if you're playing a clan war and your allies take up those positions, it will make it difficult for a person playing in this position.
Enemy armor is damaged. Penetration. We didn't penetrate their armor. We didn't even scratch them. They're knocked out.
You can see that I am using the APCR rounds against that tank. And I was spotted, and I did not move, so it is a risky position. You'll note that I angled my tank. It's not the perfect angle. It shows too much of my side armor. You really want to have the gun pointed to the left of your track.
Target acquired. Enemy is hit. I don't see the target. Ready to fire. Enemy armor is hit. Penetration. Let's find another target.
The score is 5-10, or in this case now it's 6-10.
Ready to fire. Got him. Ready to fire. Penetration. Enemy armor is destroyed.
I do have 3 kills now. I have most of my hit points. One of the things that you're going to have to understand, this is a tier 3 tank. Most of the lower tier tanks, it might not be true for tank destroyers, but I have a lot of light tanks that are lower tier tanks. Their aim tends to be horrible. I don't think there's any of them that aim well tier 1, 2, or 3.
Ready to fire. Enemy armor is hit. Penetration. The rangefinder is hit. Enemy is hit. Penetration damage. Enemy vehicle destroyed.
It's really sad that that guy was assaulting me from behind. If I had to do it over again, what I could have done is I could have ducked behind this tank to get a little bit of protection, or instead of crushing that truck, I could have gone around it and in front of it, which would also have given me a little bit of protection. I did turn my tank at a little bit of an angle when he was firing at me, so he wasn't hitting me direct on. I do have 4 kills, and he's low on health, and he's only at tier 2. Let's see what happens. Now, this is a difficult situation in terms of the gun. You don't want to be in this situation. Basically, my gun, you always want the gun pointed over the front of your tank. If it's over the back of your tank, that means you've got one of 2 situations. Either you have to turn the tank so that the back of your tank is facing the enemy, which is really bad for your armor, or you have to spin the front of your armor around and wait for your gun to come around, which is going to be a long wait. So it's a really difficult situation whenever the gun is pointed behind your tank, and you don't want to have that in a game. As you can see, the gun is coming around, but I did not swing the back of my tank around.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
So I got 5 kills. I was very lucky to be able to kill him. And there is artillery in the game, so you do have to maneuver to avoid artillery. It's very important, especially when there's only a few tanks left in the game, to hunt down the enemy. So I did kill him.
Target acquired. Target unlocked. Enemy is hit. Permission to engage. I don't see the target.
So I do have 6 kills. And I want to hunt down the artillery, and I seem to recall he's going to kill me because he's going to trick me. And obviously you'll note that I am being capped. Now, one thing that happens is, in general, you want to avoid going on the base. I could have gone around the cap and through this little gap here to go after the artillery, because the enemy that's at my base, if they're not paying attention to the minimap, they might have absolutely no idea where I am. But when I'm on the cap, the alarm goes off, they know exactly where I am. They know that I'm at my base. And now they know that I'm going after them and I'm returning to their base. And they probably know the direction I'm going to come from because it's obviously the shortest route. Obviously you can see that they capped me. I wasn't able to make it there in time. My 2 allies that were in the north did not survive. So the score was 11-14. We did get capped. I did get 7 kills in this. I'm sorry, I did get 6 kills in the game. It is the T127. I believe that this was a gift tank. It's hard for me to remember. It's possible that I did purchase it. This is a Tier 3 tank. I have a large number of these Tier 2, Tier 3 gift tanks and low-tier tanks. And the T127, I have to say, I'm not really that crazy about it. I don't think it's like the most amazing tank in the game. I play it because I use it to level up my crew. When you have the triple bonus and the 5 times bonus, I play these tanks because you could easily add 4,000 to 5,000 experience for your crews because you're going to get the triple or the 5 times bonus, plus you're going to get the 50% bonus because it's a premium tank. So that's the reason why I have it, and I level up my light tank crew very quickly, and sometimes I only play premium tanks. So what happens is I can level my crew up to 1, 2, 3, even 4 skills and postpone playing my regular tanks. So when I finally get around to playing my Russian light tank, it's going to have a full crew, which means it's going to have the snapshot and the smooth ride, which improves the gun accuracy. It's going to have the BIA, which is also going to improve the gun accuracy. It's going to have the full camo, and it will have all the little extra things like recon and mentor, etc. So that's the reason why I keep all of these gift tanks. In terms of Tier 3, do I think that this is the best Tier 3 tank? I would have to say it's okay. It's not a crappy tank. But I kind of like to play the Toldi, which is a German tank. I believe it was a gift tank that was given on Christmas 2015. I have to be honest, I don't remember all of the Tier 3 tanks. I do have a video that I made where I go through all of my premium tanks and I explain which ones I think are good and which ones are bad. This one I would say is just kind of mediocre. However, there's a chance I might have a lot of good games to play with it. I don't play it that often. So keep an eye on my account, and you'll see if I get a lot of 4 or 5 kill games, you know, you'll see it in my account. Okay, so that's the T127. It's a Russian Tier 3 light tank. The map is Ruinberg. I got 6 kills. We were capped. The score was 11-14. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.